We're live on Facebook. Okay, it is mindset training for spiritual life coaches. And the subject today is your spiritual philosophy. Philosophy. What is it? What's your spiritual philosophy? Okay. And boom. And we are ready. Oh my God, they're so cute. It's raining outside, and the cutest little mom and daughter just walked by in their matching rain slickers. Love that. Hi, everyone. It's Crystalline, and we're going to be talking about my favorite subject today. It's your spiritual philosophy. And you're probably wondering, well, what's a spiritual philosophy? And it is basically what you think and know about spirituality, emotions, energy, woo-woo. It's what you think and know, and what you think that does for us or to us, how you use it in your personal life, and how you recommend that we use it in our lives, or your clients use it, or the world at large uses it, okay? So I'm excited to talk about this subject because I think it's really important. First of all, everyone I know, has a spiritual philosophy, but they never use the term spiritual philosophy to talk about their spiritual philosophy, okay? And I want you to start using this term because it's important. And the term spiritual philosophy sounds really important because it is really important. It's how you think and how you feel and what you've experienced in your life. And as I said, how you want your clients to use it in their lives. Now, here's what's really, really, really important for me. And there are three things that I want to talk about today as a part of our training. The first thing is that, and I'm looking at my notes here, you are spiritual, and you have been called to be a life coach or a healer. Along with that calling are it's a certain amount of kind of like gifts that you have, gifts, talents, insights, wisdom. And what I'm learning about many of the people who come to me is that your self-esteem is not really high, and you don't recognize that the things that you do are actually gifts. And so because your self-esteem is low and you don't recognize that you have gifts, you don't do enough to develop those gifts and talents. And look, there are people who will say that your intuition is not a gift, it's not a talent, but indeed it is. It's a gift and it's a talent. Not everybody knows how to use their intuition consciously, and not everybody has sharp intuitions. Ego blocks most people and their intuition consciously. Sorry, and I don't want to say most people. I'm wrong to say that, so I'm going to correct myself. But a hell of a lot of people have their intuition blocked. And as a matter of fact, I'm going back. I'm going back to what I just said. Most people have their intuition blocked, and they don't use their intuition nearly enough. And you, my friend, have decided that you want to be a spiritual life coach and healer, which means that you need to own your gift of intuition. Now, here you are, you have a gift of intuition and using it. And by the way, I have a gift of intuition, and I'm going to use myself as an example because I want to give you courage. I want to give you power. I want to give you insight. But I am notorious for sensing a person's astrological sign and nailing it. Not off, nailing it. And just yesterday, I said to a person, "Are you a Capricorn?" And they said, "How did you know?" And I was immediately looked at like, "Have you been spying on me?" And no, what I did was use my intuition. Happens all the time. I'm sure you have all sorts of gifts. Now, this gift that you have is, again, something that you might disregard or take lightly or sweep under the rug. There's not a lot of people in your circle who are praising you and like empowering you around that particular gift. And so what you do is you kind of downplay it and you ignore it and you're afraid to show it. Okay. This is a problem. This is a problem because the more you empower that gift, the more you tune up, empower, turn on, ignite, fire up those gifts that are subtle, the more you own them and the more you can use them to help people in a way that's actually really helpful. And most importantly is you start to recognize the power of what you have been given. The problem is that because your self-esteem is too low and you don't play with your gifts enough and you don't live your life based on your gifts, you don't trust yourself and your gifts, and you don't trust the universe and your gifts, and you're more bought into the three-dimensional world rather than trusting that your soul and source, like you don't trust that they have your back, that you are going to succeed with this gift, because the three-dimensional world says, oh no, you need tangible gifts. Only the tangible stuff is what you should be pursuing. Those are the things that get rewarded. You've been played by the illusion. You're like Thomas Anderson in The Matrix, not Neo. You're Thomas Anderson, who Neo was before he became Neo, right? And that's a problem because you have something important to give. So your spiritual philosophy, and actually before I go into that, remember that as a spiritual life coach, you need true authority. You need to be an authority. People need to trust that you know what you're doing, what you're talking about, that you've done the work, and that the way you can help people is actually measurable and doable, okay? And I want to let you know right off the bat that these things are learnable. You can learn everything that I'm telling you, everything that I've told you in all of these classes. These things are learnable. You, even working with your own intuition and your own spiritual gifts, you can learn more about those things, right? And you can deepen that and expand on those. Now, as a spiritual life coach, you need to have authority. People need to trust you and respect you. And they will if you show yourself. If you do the work to hone your skills, your intuition, and your gifts, and if you let people know that you have those gifts, those skills, okay, then people will respect and appreciate you, and you will have a schedule full of clients. I'm smiling right now because I have a schedule full of clients, and I've had a schedule full of clients for a really long time. And I like it. I like that. So your spiritual philosophy is an opportunity for you to talk about your gifts and your talents. So, for example, if you are strongly intuitive, or you're a medium, or you're a psychic, or you do quantum healing, or you're a Reiki practitioner, you have thoughts around all those things that you do. Your thoughts around those things and how they can affect our lives, as I said earlier, and how people can use them and how they are used, the steps you do. When you write that out, you are writing your spiritual philosophy. And when you have something in writing and you put it on Facebook, or you put it on your blog, or you email it, or you write about it in depth, and maybe you write 5 to 10 pages about it, and then it becomes a booklet. And if you want to go into really like deep depth, you can write about it for hundreds of pages, and then you have a book. And your spiritual philosophy is put out in the world in a powerful way. This is really important. This is powerful because it used to be that in order for you to have something in writing, like you had to get it printed and you had to go to the printer, and that cost money. And it took a lot of energy. Just the printing process was a lot of money and a lot of energy. Then you had to get it delivered to people, like through the mail, in a bookstore, right? You had to find somebody to publish your book. You have to send your manuscript around to all these people. And it was hard. Like, you know, there are so many books that have not been published, but that have been written, right? And in today's world, it's so easy. It is so easy. All you have to do is do it and then hit a button and it's shared, it's posted. And that is fabulous. It's fabulous for you, and it's fabulous for all those people who are going to read what you are sharing. It's wonderful. So there's that. Do you see, though, how doing that gives you authority? When somebody, like, let's say that you are just sitting here and I come across your video, you're on video, you're doing a live stream, and I just come across you in my feed on YouTube or on TikTok or Facebook, and I see you there, and I pause and I listen, and you're speaking about this philosophy that you have studied and nurtured and developed, and you've created a system around it. And again, everything I'm saying is learnable. You can learn how to blog. You can learn how to put your stuff on Facebook. You can learn how to create a system. Learnable, okay? Thank God. I'm watching you and I'm like, ooh, she's talking to me. She wrote this for me. I get that all the time. People say like, oh, Crystal, they write me a message, Crystal, you were talking to me in that video, right? On my blog, Crystal, you wrote this to me. I love it, man. I love it. That's powerful, right? And the thing is, that person who's watching you in that video, they're going to want more. So you need your website built so that they can go get more. You need of course, you want your YouTube and your Facebook, and they can follow you there. But what you want is to have like a real one home where you are. Remember that Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, they own your shit. They own your shit. You put it out there. If they decide they're going to shut you down, they can shut you down and everything you had is gone. Okay, so you need a website, you need a blog, you need your own email list, because those are things that are yours. You buy those, you set those up. And again, all this is learnable. You can learn how to set up your blog, you learn how to set up your you learn how to set up your email list. Okay, if you need help, you need to be talking to me, because that is what I do. I help mentor you, I show you how. All right, all that needs to be in one spot so that people can be really in touch with you and not limited by what is shown on Facebook. Facebook doesn't show your stuff to everyone. Facebook has an algorithm, and you get, out of the 2,000 friends you have, you might get your stuff shown to 10%. Okay, and it's significantly less if you have a Facebook page, right? Unless you're paying for ads. Okay, and I don't blame Facebook for that. They're doing a great service. They're providing a free platform for me to be able to communicate with you. I appreciate Facebook, but I'm no dummy. I'm not letting Facebook be the source of all my good. No way. YouTube too. Love both of these platforms. Very appreciative. Okay. So your job is to, when someone comes and they are loving you, they're vibing with you, your job is to have a place that is safe for them to go so that they can learn more about you and you can give them what they need. Okay. Now, here's the second point I want to make about the importance of having your spiritual philosophy and writing about it. Back on my notes here. And actually, I'm so sorry. I should check in on Facebook and see if anybody's with me today, see if anyone's watching, if there are any questions. Okay, I don't see any questions on, so I'm going to just keep right on rolling here. Here we go. Boom. All right, so the next thing, as a spiritual life coach and as a healer, you have the ability to do face-to-face sessions, and you have the ability, oh my God, I keep getting distracted by what's outside the window. There's a little girl in a party hat. She must have had a party at school. So she's got a little cone hat on, walking in with her dad. She looks like she's about 6 or 7 years old. Just adorable. Love that stuff. I like having my place where I can see the comings and goings. You may call me Gladys Kravitz if you remember her from Bewitched. Okay, she was the nosy neighbor. I think I got that right. She was the nosy neighbor who was always watching stuff and always like seeing Elizabeth do things, but nobody else would ever see it. Yeah, because she's watching everything. Yeah, that's me. I just saw her do magic, but nobody else is around to see what I'm seeing. Anyway, going back. Right. So as a life coach and as a healer, you can do private sessions and you can do group sessions, and you can make, you can have like courses and sell your courses, and you can get a lot of really good information out to people and help people in a really powerful way. And that's wonderful. What people often forget though, is that if you write a blog, you can literally help 10,000 people. You've written a blog. For me, it takes about 8 hours to write a blog and publish it. Okay, I'm a bit of a slow writer, but I write the blog, and then I need to chew on it, make sure I've done my research to make sure that it's a solid piece of writing, and then I need to proofread it. Okay, and then I like to put images with my work, so that takes some time, and then I need to do the write-ups for it, put it in the emails, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it on the blog itself, all this stuff, right? So it takes about 8 hours to get one blog out, but that 8 hours gets me to 10,000 readers. So worth it. So freaking worth it. I love it. So when you put your spiritual philosophy in writing, here's why I love it. I put it out, people read it, they get something from it, they learn from it, they use it to improve their lives. And that's what I love. And I love writing. I love sharing my spiritual philosophy. And it's just wonderful. So even if you don't write your spiritual philosophy, by the way, if you're just all into video, that you are documenting your spiritual philosophy is really important. I should just say documenting your spiritual philosophy, but I personally believe that writing is more important than video. I think that writing should come first and video should follow your writing, so that at the very least you do both. But at first I would do writing. That's my own personal preference. I have my reasons for believing that, and I'm happy to talk to you about that, at a different time. But I really love writing. And by the way, this is not about you being an expert writer that needs to get approved by a publisher. No, just write the fucking blog, share your philosophy with gusto and joy, put your heart into it, and fuck anybody who doesn't like your grammar. Okay, if you got misspelled words, look, there's Grammarly that will help you improve your grammar. Okay, and your spell check. All right, but write with passion and get that information out, and stop holding yourself back over some minor limitations that don't really matter. And the reason I say this is because it doesn't matter. Your spiritual philosophy needs to get written. And here's what I know from experience. The more you write, the more your writing improves. So today you might start writing and you're like, oh, my grammar is atrocious. A year from now, after you've continued writing and you make improvements, of course you should make improvements. You would make improvements as you're running or exercising, right? If you're learning how to cook, you're going to make improvements as you cook. Why would you not make improvements in your writing? Of course, it's going to happen naturally. So as you are doing that, your writing's going to improve and you'll gain more confidence. All right. But my point is, just get the information out there and stop holding yourself back. Okay. Now, yes, that's the point that I wanted to make. That that second point is that you have the ability to reach thousands of people when you create a blog or you create a video and you share your philosophy, and the things you share help people, and it doesn't necessarily cost them anything. So a lot of times people come to me and they're like, I really want to help poor people, and I also want to be paid. I want to earn money. I have to earn income and support myself, support my family, support my dreams. Yes, you do. You need to be able to support yourself. Well, when you do a blog or a podcast, those things are free. Okay, that is a great way to support people who do not have money to invest in your programs. Okay, so sharing your philosophy is so powerful. It's so generous. It is so helpful. You want to serve God? Right. Okay. You want to serve the universe? Right. You want to help the world ascend? Right. Okay. Really powerful. Now, the last point that I want to make for today, and then we're going to just go over the home fund in your workbook. When you take the time to write out your spiritual philosophy, it shows your willingness to take responsibility for your philosophy and for the things you believe in, the things that you do. Now, a lot of times in the spiritual world, there's a little bit of spiritual bypassing, where people don't, not people in general. I just mean there's some sectors of people that are not taking responsibility for the things that they believe, for the things that they teach. Okay. And when you put your words in writing, when you put your beliefs in writing, you are taking responsibility for those beliefs, and you are standing up for what you believe in. And that energetically is really badass. It is really powerful. And all of this spiritual philosophy is meant to help you gain authority as a spiritual healer and transformer. If you are going to have a spiritual philosophy that stays in your head and you don't share it, you are limiting the amount of authority that you are sharing, that you're letting people know about, because you're not sharing it. Okay, so sharing your spiritual philosophy is spreading your authority. It's letting people know who you are, what you believe, and how you can help. And that is powerful. When you take responsibility for your spiritual philosophy and you put it in writing, you're saying to the universe, hey, I trust you and I trust this philosophy. I'm going to write about it, I'm going to share it, and I'm going to stand by it. Because, you know, when you put something in writing, you got to take responsibility. Verbal contracts don't have nearly as much power as written contracts. So when you put your spiritual philosophy in writing, you're saying to the universe, hey, thank you, let's do this. And you're showing the world that you stand by what you say. It has meaning and it makes it more valid. It makes you more legit. All right, so I want to tuck into our work for this week, for today, for this lesson. So I am going to share my screen. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share this and this. Here we go. Share a screen. And this is the curriculum for, oh, I thought it was a curriculum. Yes, this is the curriculum. Here we go. Boom. Okay, here we go. Writing your spiritual philosophy. So here's our curriculum for today. And as usual, this is about this lesson. So there's a summary of what I've said, and just a summary of spiritual philosophy and why it's important. And in the home fun for this week, there is in your workbook, okay, let's see, there we go. Here's our workbook. Uh-oh, can you see this? I'm assuming you can see this, but there's no green. Actually, let me just hop on Facebook real quick and see if it's shared. Okay, it says I'm going to share my screen. I'm behind on Facebook. That's funny. I'm just going to double check and make sure I'm sharing. Yes, it's there. Okay, sorry about that. Better to do it this way. Better to be safe than sorry. So in the workbook for this week, this week the workbook is titled True Authority. Okay, we're in Unit 4, Week 4. And that was yesterday's article, Alchemizing Pain. And today we are working on writing your spiritual philosophy. All right, so here's the article, Writing Your Spiritual Philosophy. I want you to read through that, please. And then afterward, you will find some blank pages to do your home fun. All right, and here's your home fun assignment. So read the article and then do this process. All right, this is the process to help you find and discover your spiritual philosophy. To not discover it, you know your spiritual philosophy, but this is a way to help you talk about it. All right, so what I want you to do is the first thing is just start documenting your healing journey and to write it out as if it were a memoir. Okay, and you don't have to try to make it fancy. You don't have to make it grammatically correct. All right, but I want you to just start talking about what happened to you, what you went through, and how you overcame. And you can start with one trauma or one emotional upset and then go from there. Okay, if there's a particular one that you like, and if it's one that you know you overcame and you're really proud of that, start with that one. Okay, next step is to review the steps on your journey that moved you toward personal transformation. So what inspired you? Did you read books? Did you watch videos? Were you walking along in Costa Rica and you found yourself in a church walking down an aisle on your knees? I did that. I had a really powerful healing journey in Costa Rica. I literally found this church with the Black Madonna, and I went in and there were all these old people, and there was a stone floor, and these like elderly people were on their knees walking down this long aisle of the church toward the Madonna, and they were meditating and praying on their knees, walking. And I said, I'm gonna do that. And I got on my knees, and it hurt so badly. Oh my God. But I was determined to get there. It took me an hour and a half to get all the way down the aisle. Had to take some breaks. In the meantime, all the old people are whizzing past me, like they're whizzing past me, and I'm going, oh my God, I can't handle this, But it was an amazing experience, and there was a lot of healing that went on that day, a lot of connection and an understanding. Like I deepened my connection to God. I could deepen my connection to Goddess. I deepened my connection to myself, my body. It was a life-changing experience. Those are the kinds of things you want to write down. Doesn't have to be as dramatic as being in Costa Rica. You all know I've traveled a lot, so a lot of my healing is done traveling, okay? If you haven't done that much traveling, don't worry about it, okay? It's important that people see themselves in your spiritual philosophy, not that they see you, okay? So big deal. I went to Costa Rica, but that doesn't mean that that's the only way to heal, okay? You need to tell your story because Jane can relate to your story, So it doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be real, authentic, and life-changing for you. I guarantee you that when you write it out, Spirit's going to send you the people who can relate to that story, and it's going to help them, all right? Just write the thing, all right? So write down whatever it was on your journey that moved you toward healing and transformation, whether it's something within yourself, something that you were led to do, or a video you watched, books you've read, workshops you've done, all right? If you're doing this and you found it to be helpful, why? Okay, note it down. Hey, when I was in Badass Butterfly mindset training, I learned this, and this is why this is so important to me. Talk about it. That's how you develop your philosophy. Talk about it and write about it, okay? Don't just talk about it, write it down, okay? And please feel free to write as you speak. You don't have to do fancy writing. Write as you speak. And if you don't like writing, talk into a voice recorder and then upload that to otter.ai and have Otter transcribe that for you, or whatever transcription software you want to use. I use Otter because they're really accurate. They're good. I like Otter. But I get my stuff transcribed all the time because I like being out, and when I walk, I'm always philosophizing when I walk. And so I might just pull out the voice recorder if the dictation isn't working, okay? Then I'll transcribe things. So you can totally do that, no problem, okay? Step 3, you want to revisit the ideologies that inform your inspirational guides and write down how they play a role in your present life. So if you grew up in a Christian church and you're not into Christianity anymore, okay, I understand, but there was probably something that you wanted to take with you, or you did take with you. When you left Christianity or you left your church, you probably took a lot of really good, important values and ideologies along with you. What were those that you took, and why? Why were those things important to you? Why did you hold on to them? Also understanding why you left that original church is another part of your philosophy. I left Christianity because I didn't like the hypocrisy of the people in my community, in my church community. That's a part of your spiritual philosophy. You need to write that down because that's telling you what your values are. It's important to me that we walk our talk. It's important to me that we are not hypocritical, okay? Why? Develop your philosophy around that. Write it down, okay? Now, and also all those books you've read, all those videos that you've watched, take notes when you're watching and reading and listening, and understand that those notes that you're taking, yes, they are the author's ideas until you digest them use them and assimilate them, and then they become your own, and you start talking about them, about those same ideas, but through the scope of your own life and how you applied this to your life. I hope that makes sense. I know that I read the book Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. I read the book, then first I listened to the audiobook, and then I read the paper book, I read the paper book. And the audio version was so magical. I was damn near orgasming while I was listening to her read this book. It was just so fantastic. I could feel my body, my spirit leaving my body. It was just so magical, the reading of this book. And in that book, she talks about this singing over the bones, right? This woman who is in the desert, and she's got to put herself back together again, right? She's gone through and she's been scattered, shattered, spread out, and she's got to bring herself back together again. And then she has to sing over her bones to reinvigorate her life. Ooh, getting chills just even thinking about it. Woo! That was a huge part of my understanding of transformation and the badass butterfly, this death of the caterpillar and the reemergence of the butterfly, and how you have to sing over your bones, how you have to give birth to yourself again, right? You got to write that shit down, Sure, but Clarissa wrote it, okay? Dr. Estes wrote it, but I took it, I ate it, I chewed it up, I digested it. It informed me, it became a part of my cells. And I started living through it. And my own philosophy developed as a part of that. The badass butterfly concept is partially originated in Women Who Run with the Wolves. And you can see that when you read that book, and how that book is really about women who walk the hard path for transformation's sake, and the pain they go through, and the joy of rebirth, and the grittiness of rebirth, the messiness of rebirth. And that's what it's like in the badass butterfly concept, going from the caterpillar into the caterpillar's body hardening, and that butterfly needing to break through the shell of the old self. And it's not a pretty process. Never once will you hear me saying, oh, this is so neat and it's so orderly. No. It's wild, it's crazy, it's the divine feminine on crack, man. It's big. Okay, I should check in just in case someone's here with me. Whenever okay, hold on. Let me refresh my screen here. Looks like I'm okay. All right, so boom. Last step, okay? Last step. Write down your daily, weekly, and monthly rituals that you continue to use on your healing journey, especially the practices you recommend to other people. Write down why you believe they work for you. So if you do moon rituals every month, for the new moon or the full moon, or you have a special thing you do when you're having your menstrual cycle, or if there's something that you do each season, even if it's cleaning your house, okay? That's a ritual. If you do some kind of closet cleaning, or you throw away things that, when the seasons change, or when you cook a certain meal, if you're sick and you always make yourself some chicken soup when you're sick, that's a ritual. Why do you do that? There's a philosophy that's in there. Okay. What do you do every day? For me, I get up in the morning, I meditate, and I talk to God, and I write down what I'm doing for the day. I call it fueling my will and intentions for the day. So I write down everything I want to do, what I want to eat, all those things. It's really helpful for me because I have this energy that I'm very open to the divine feminine. And so I get lots and lots of energy that comes through, lots of downloads, and I would be all over the place, as I have been in my past. Okay, I would be all over the place learning, doing things, and I wouldn't get anything done, and I'd be very frustrated because I didn't get anything done. So for me, it's really important that I write everything down. It takes me about 20 minutes to write down everything that I need to do for the day, really think it through, but it's so helpful for me. And it makes sure that I get my stuff done, and that's really important. All right. So whatever your philosophy is, whatever you do every day, write that down. Why do you do that? All that goes into your spiritual philosophy. It makes up your spiritual philosophy. All right, so I am going to go ahead and sign off for the day. Thanks so much for joining me here. If you have any questions after if you're watching the replay, you have questions, please feel free to type your questions into the comments, and I'll be more than happy to go back and talk to you about them or answer them or reply to you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to have a wonderful evening. It's 6:40 at night here in Paris, and it's gray and it's very cozy. I like that. I might have a glass of wine tonight with my dinner. Oh, okay. I'm going to go ahead and sign off because I'm about to get silly. I'll see you soon. Bye for now, friends. Bye.